Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I hope this finds you well. I've got my cup of coffee. I've got my water, and I am ready for the 21st day of trial for the Karen Reed. Y'all, yesterday was interesting. We had some forensics. I have some opinions about what we saw yesterday, but I'm going to hold those opinions until our Friday night fun night. And I will go over all of that with you then. So I hope you join me. In the meantime, Ford has already got the spinning fan, so we're going to go ahead and get the happy birthdays on the table, and come with me as we wish some people the happy and blessed birthday. Ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy
All right, y'all. Happy birthday to Brianna. Happy birthday to Shelby. Happy birthday, Austin. I hope you have a great one. Logan, enjoy your day today. Janae, you're rocking it, babe. Enjoy your birthday. Sarah, happy birthday. Michelle, Tina, but I have a special birthday. Crenshaw, I miss you, brother. Tell your lovely wife hello. You have an amazing birthday today. We'll be seeing you soon. All right, guys. Good morning, Anne. How are you? Oh, yay! You signed with me. Yay! Oh, that hurt. Well, when this trial is finished, the next one I'll be signing when I talk. I just gotta fix it a little more. We do have the fans going. That means court's getting ready to start. Anne, are you available between, say, 10:15 Central Standard Time and 12 o'clock? You're my first mod on this morning, darling. Good coffee. Good coffee. Because of that, let's roll with our sponsor, y'all. This is the best coffee. I really love it. Hey, y'all. I am so excited we have our very first sponsor, and I'm wearing this hat to honor them. Who is it? Well, it's coffee, my favorite thing. This coffee is from Hitchman Homestead Coffee. This is the Shooter Shack Coffee Pioneer Nicaraguan Roast. This coffee is so delicious, y'all. It is so smooth. It does not leave a chemical taste on the back of the tongue. It's not overly bitter. And I have to tell you, it is my favorite. And I am now getting rid of all my other coffee. I kid you not. They have a monthly subscription available. You get 4 12-ounce bag a month, either whole beaned or ground. And then you can also get a Keurig option as well. The other thing they have is wonderful gift boxes that you can send to your loved ones. So you want to support a fabulous home business and people here in the Hill Country, go to hitchmanhomestead.com and let them know I sent you, and grab yourself some of the best tasting coffee we have here in Texas Hill Country. Yeah, y'all. Yeah, y'all. You can see it right back there. I got some of their bags back there. They are at a festival for the last week and this week. So they are awesome. Ooh, what kind of job, beloved? What kind of job? I'm also waiting for the Karen Swift, murder trial, Tennessee versus David Swift, to come on. We are in a verdict watch. Don't see that up yet. Well, that's, hey, that's a good job. You know, sometimes they start at 2 and go to a lot more. If you were over where I live, you would be so busy you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. I live in a population that's a higher level of aging people, and I'm becoming one of them. People can't believe I'm in my 50s, but I is, and I'm becoming one of them. Okay, so yesterday in trial, they introduced a bunch of evidence. Finally, good morning, Eddie. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So they introduced a bunch of actual photos of evidence. But one thing, I don't know if the judge is not allowing it or if they're just not wanting to do it. Why are we not? I mean, they held up the real article and put it down. Um, but there's several things that I saw and heard yesterday, and I'm laying in bed last night and my head is just spinning. I can't believe what they did and didn't do. I can't believe what professional. Sorry, y'all. I cannot believe what the professionals did. I cannot believe what they didn't do. I can't believe what Karen Reed did yesterday. She made a statement yesterday. She's sitting here like this, going to talk to her mama, right? I'm sorry, So she's sitting here and she glances over at the camera and then she looks and she glances at the camera and then she goes, Proctor. So basically, she was telling everybody Proctor's not going to testify. Now, I believe he's not going to testify because I believe that the investigation that's going on concerning him, his not recusing himself with the FBI, if he testifies, it will incriminate himself. So his superior has been on the stand, kind of, sort of testifying. I don't know, but his superior got on the stand to testify. Miss Kevin, good morning. Good morning. Is anybody available to moderate between 10:15 Central Time and 12? I have my doctor's appointment. Oh, update on Puppers. Puppers is doing much better. Puppers slept well last night. The night before, she was up and down at the bathroom all night long. Like every 5-10 minutes, she had to try to go out. So, yes, Proctor is going to take the fifth. Oh, Miss Kevin, I'm so sorry. Oh, nap time. Oh, yes, thank you. Just, direct name testimony, cross name testimony, sidebar, break, whatever they do. That way I have so many videos to go back and timestamp. I've not had time, but that will help me out a lot. And I will be listening in and able to text. You are so awesome. Salute a military girl. I don't know how to do that. Wonderful, Eddie. You two can help each other. Y'all are such an amazing mod team. All of you. I love and appreciate you. The fan is still spinning. I am still trying to see and watch out for the verdict watch for the Swift trial. Um, oh, y'all, if you've never, how many of y'all have heard of Vera Bradley? I mean, if you're a woman and you don't know who Vera Bradley is, girl, we got to have a talk. I love Vera Bradley. No, she's not sponsored, but you see me grab this every day. This is my traveling pill box. And I'm out of that mat in here. I'll have to go get it later. I kind of keep it with me, so if I need anything, it's right there. Y'all have no idea. I've got a GoPro that I'm setting up that's going to be kind of like from this angle, kind of like Recovery Addict. I've been told that people like to see multiple angles. Oh, I know. Do you know one year? Well, last year. Well, before last year, but December of 22, I went. I'm more of a 31 girl. I love that too. I have some of those. But I was going to Washington, D.C., then Tennessee, and Florida. It was like a week and a half in Washington, 3 weeks in Tennessee, and a week and a half in Florida. And I bought an entire line of luggage from Vera Bradley, and they had it on sale. And then what I really ended up liking was on clearance because I just like a plain gray luggage. Um, but I I bought an entire set. And not only was it 30% off, but it was 30 and 30%. So, yeah, and I got it at the outlet. It was awesome. But I saved 2 to 3. But I bought everything I needed that was Vera Bradley, including that. Yep. I don't have an outlet here. I have to travel a few hours. Uh-oh. Court is moving.
Could I see counsel at sidebar about a couple of things, please?
Already? Seriously? Seriously? Really? Really? Seriously? You're going to pull that? You're going to do that now? Oh my God. Ah, ah, ah. I will pull my doggy stunt. No. Mm. Yes, we love Vera Bradley. We love the outlet stores. We love the outlet stores. Do you know anybody else notice that O'Keefe's father has not been in court? Mm. I had somebody ask me, why do you drink your coffee cup like I'm doing it instead of like this? This is an old thing. When I would go to restaurants with my grandpa, he would not drink coffee like this because everybody drank coffee like that. He said, if they don't clean it good enough, then drinking it like this, most people's lips haven't touched that part. I thought that was pretty cool. So, Friday fun night, tomorrow night, I'll set it up tomorrow because we don't have a live stream with the Reed trial tomorrow. If we're still in verdict watch, we'll do that. Otherwise, I'll be taking tomorrow day off. I've got a lot of things I got to do behind scenes. I have got to get my timestamps done. I've got to get my we got a new trial I'm keeping my eyes on. We may, if this trial is still going, we'll see. I'm not going to cover 2 trials at once. But I am going to be looking at another trial to see. We kind of did 2 trials at once with this one, but it was because there were days off, and this is a small trial. I don't know how long this other trial is going to be. It was suggested to me by one of my mods, so I'm going to look into that. But Friday night, fun night, we are going to be looking at the evidence that was presented yesterday. I have some views. I have some opinions, both based on my life experiences, and we're going to visit some of that. So definitely an adult show because I will be having a lot of the evidence, although the evidence isn't really that gruesome compared to what other evidences are out there. So we'll be diving into that. So invite your friends, y'all. So we're looking at Mama here in the blue sweater. Everyone's learned very well to cover their mouths. That's Mama. I guess that's her friend or sister. Yeah. Vera Bradley is known for a quilted material backpacks, lunch bags, little purses and such. And she blew up and now she's like infamous. And I didn't know about Vera Bradley until I gave birth to a daughter, and one of the doctor wives gifted me a little makeup bag and a backpack that was a basically diaper bag backpack. And I absolutely loved it. I still have it. It's very faded, but that thing has been through hell and back. I still have the makeup bag, but they're a lot of their stuff is extremely user friendly, washable. A lot of teenage girls love their backpacks because they're so easily cleaned. They're awesomes. He's at his uncle, drives a tractor, cutting hay, helping with painting. That sounds like my son did. Every boy should spend time with grandpa. Yeah, it does change family dynamic. And guess what? When he comes back, it's going to change even more because he doesn't realize it, but he changes. Every summer they go through it. I really feel for that woman right there, y'all. It's a no win-win. If Karen Reed is found guilty, her son is still gone. If she's found innocent, her son is still gone, and they don't have the killer. Please do. Please do. Miss Kevin, you don't live in Texas, do you? I can't remember. Get a prescription from the physician that's going to help you, or a letter stating that they're recommending it because it's going to help you get a legit dog. But we need to talk. Okay, no problem. Yes, yes, we do need to talk. Just reach out to me when you're ready to talk.
You are
Here
unmuted.
we go. Bring the joy. I haven't had my music this morning.
Court is now open. 22117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Can I have the witness, please?
So, good morning again, counsel and Ms. Reed. Good morning, viewers. We appreciate your patience. Giving us this time actually helps streamline things today, so we appreciate that. I do have to ask you those 3 questions. Were you all able to follow the
Oh, she doesn't lean in, does? Oh, yes, she does. There's the lean in.
Investigation into this case. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left yesterday? Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left yesterday? Thank you very much. Everybody answered those questions appropriately. Okay, can we have Sergeant Bukhenik, please?
You solemnly swear the evidence you give the court and jury in the case down here, and the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
You promise?
All right,
Okay,
Mr.
guys,
Riley, whenever you're
remember, the
ready.
sound may not be good. I have it gained up as far
Good
as I
morning, sir.
can.
Circle back just to a couple things that from your testimony from yesterday. Going back to the video that you reviewed from both C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall. In total, from those two videos, how many drinks did you observe the defendant consuming?
Oh, God.
The video shows 9 drinks being consumed by the defendant. And that's between when she arrives at C.F. McCarthy's until the time that she leaves the waterfall. Is that correct? That is correct. And if I could turn your attention to the ring videos from One Meadows Avenue, Mr. O'Keefe's residence. From the videos that you observed, let me ask you first, as far as, you know how those cameras work as far as when they turn on and when they turn off? My understanding is that ring surveillance video is triggered to be recorded through motion. So if the camera detects motion, which is constantly live monitoring, and motion is detected, then that video is captured to a cloud-based system that retains that footage. And from your review of those videos, what kind of motion would set those off? Like what kind of things would be recorded from the driveway camera? Be activity in the driveway, such as a person walking through, bird landing, a vehicle pulling in, individuals, moving around in the driveway, and so forth. And the search warrant that was applied for was any and all videos between January 24th and January 30th, correct? For one of the search warrants, that's correct, yes. And with respect to that time frame, what, if any, activity based on information that you had received was not available or was not
Is this
shown on
Cross?
those ring videos?
I don't know why I can't remember.
The data returned had video that would have been captured from the defendant arriving home after midnight on the 29th, after she dropped Mr. O'Keefe off at 34 Fairview Road. That video was not present in the data that was returned from Ring. There was. What, if any, other video in addition to that one was not present? There was also video missing from the defendant showing Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts the damage to her right rear taillight. And what, if any, follow-up or what, if any, inquiry was then done with regard to Ring as far as those types of videos or deletion or how those videos could not be present? Correspondence with Ring produced information that.
Sustain.
Let me ask just first, was there follow-up with Ring in regard to those videos? Yes, there was. And was there ever anything produced with regard to those videos or those time frames from Ring? No, there was not. If I could turn your attention over to your time in Dayton, just in reference to subsequent to that later on, what, if anything, did you receive, or what, if anything, did you request? What, if anything, did you receive from the Dayton Police in regard to January 29th, 2022? I communicated with the Dayton Police Department requesting documentation from their officers' calls for service at our request, and log notes, logs from their dispatching center, as well as any reports that would document their activity if such reports existed. And did you, what, if any, information did you receive in relation to that? I received a log note or log printout from their CAD system, and I received a report authored by Officer Barrows. And did you also receive any 911 calls? Yes. And who was the party as far as the 911 caller in regard to those 911 calls that you received?
It was Mr. Reed.
And again, just for clarity purposes, that's the defendant's father, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's from the morning of January 29th, is that also correct?
Correct.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to February 3rd, 2022. At some point that morning, where did you go?
During the morning hours of February 3rd, we planned to meet at 34 Fairview Road. Myself, Trooper Proctor, and Trooper DeChico arrived at that location in order to conduct a secondary search of the area as the temperatures were turning and the snow was melting naturally. We decided to do another search for articles that were now, we realized and learned, were missing and could be of evidentiary value and aid in the, in the investigation.
And with respect to going to 34 Fairview Road, what, if any, tools or what, if anything, did you bring with you, you and the other troopers, in regard to conducting that secondary search?
I requested the troopers bring shovels, rakes, anything like gardening items that would help them to dig through the snow. And
Wait.
You had them bring gardening tools from home that are contaminated with their own stuff. You should have supplies at the PD station that have been cleaned and sterilized to do this. Stupid is as stupid does.
locate any missing items.
And
And
as
if
far
that-
as the temperature,
And if the dirty shovel, rake, trowel, whatever touches the found item, it's contaminated.
change that you're talking about, how precipitous a change are we talking about?
Good
The
point,
temperatures
Eddie.
went above freezing, so the snow did begin to melt, and it was significantly warmer compared to the 18 degrees the night of the incident.
Now, you mentioned
Y'all,
items of
I'm already
evidence
getting
that you,
irritated.
had learned of and were looking for. What, if any, clothing items, Mr. O'Keefe, were you looking for specifically on February 3rd?
We were specifically looking for Mr. O'Keefe's baseball cap.
Shoe?
And in addition to yourself, Trooper Proctor and Trooper DeChico, who, if anyone else, did
Haven't
you
heard of them
notify,
finding
if
the
any,
cap, have
any
you?
other unit within the state police responded that day as well?
We requested the assistance of the Crime Scene Services section of the Massachusetts State Police, and Trooper Evan Brent showed up to assist us with documentation of the location and the evidence that we were hopefully going to find.
And from those, Trooper Brent arrived and took photographs, is that correct?
That's correct.
And when was it that Trooper Brent arrived in relation to your arrival?
I believe he was already present when we pulled up, but I'm not sure to his exact time of arrival.
And with regard to that day, what, if anything, in general terms, what, if anything, were you able to locate and where was it, generally speaking?
We located Mr. O'Keefe's baseball hat. We located a drinking straw from a cocktail glass. We located items of plastic, colored plastic, and other shards of colored plastic at the location. All those items were located on the grass portion of the yard near the flagpole at 34 Fairview Road.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I have a moment? And Sergeant, I'm going to show you a series of photos, but I'm going to break this up a little bit.
So, Mr. Lally, with your back to the jurors and the air conditioning on, I'm sure they can't hear you.
My apologies. So, sir, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some photographs, a series of them, but I'm going to break them up a little bit just to make it
Okay, sir.
hopefully quicker. Sir, first I'm going to show you 10 photographs. Ask if you could review those, look up when you're finished.
I wonder if that baseball cap was in that bag. But why are we not seeing it?
Thank you. Do you recognize those, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
Those are photographs documented the items located at 34 Fairview Road on the grass as the snow receded through the melting temperatures that were revealed to be positioned in the grass.
And what's contained in those photographs, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you observed on the front lawn area of 34 Fairview Road on February 3rd?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to introduce you to the next exhibit.
Any objection, Mr. Jackson?
No objection.
Okay.
It's dried. Contents were all over the shirt. It's dried. And we're going to be discussing that shirt tomorrow night. Y'all join me. I'm going to even see if I can get RA on again to discuss it. Yeah, it's going to be a good discussion. There's a lot we're going to talk about tomorrow night, especially about the evidence. I might even bring up the glass again. I want to see the bottom of the glass because there's two glasses in question. One that she brought into the Waterfall Bar and Grill, and the one that she used apparently have been said to be two different glasses.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could just ask to publish some of these photos. For the
Yes.
record. Just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could start with photograph 7659.
If this is gruesome, I'm going to remove it. Just
And Sergeant, do you
FYI.
recognize what's up on the screen and what's now been marked as Exhibit 468?
I do.
And if you could, just for orientation purposes, describe to the jury whereabouts in relation to 34 Fairview Road we are in this picture.
As standing on the street of Fairview Road, we're looking at the left side of the yard. In the top right corner, you can tell that there is a flagpole depicted in that photograph and a telephone switch box that's open on the left side, which is on the border of 34 Fairview Road.
And if I could ask from this photograph, if you know, grass that's visible on the front lawn area of 34 Fairview Road, is that from a natural melting process, or is that from some of the tools that you and the other troopers brought to assist you in your secondary search?
The reason that grass is exposed is due to processing of the scene and having the snow being moved away from the location, and then natural melting process taking place on top of it. As you can tell, other portions of the yard is covered in snow, and the grass has not revealed itself just yet.
Now, as far as the photographs of various items that were located on this date, February 3rd, the photographs that were they taken as they lay, or were they touched or manipulated in any way prior to the photograph being taken?
The items photographed were discovered as soon as we realized what is being discovered through the digging and excavation process. They were then photographed instantly. Certain items were revealed naturally through the melting process and the snow, no longer concealing those items underneath.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, can I have photograph 7666? And again, sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It has now been marked as Exhibit 470.
I do.
And what do you recognize that?
That is a clear black and red piece of plastic.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7669. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's now on the screen as Exhibit 473?
Yes, that is another piece of plastic.
And sort of towards the top middle of the screen, do you recognize what that is?
Yes, that's a fire hydrant from 34 Fairview Road, grass area.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have the next photograph, 4670. For the record, this is Exhibit 474. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And is that a closer up image of what was depicted in the prior exhibit?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7672. And sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which has now been marked as Exhibit 476?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
Another piece of red taillight plastic.
And lastly, from this batch, Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7673. Again, sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen, depicted in what's now marked as Exhibit 477?
I do.
And what do you recognize that?
That is the fire hydrant and telephone switch box located on the edge of the property line at 34 Fairview Road.
Now, the photographs that I had just placed before you, have you had a chance to review those?
I have.
And do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
I do.
And what do you recognize those?
The property at 34 Fairview Road, left corner towards the street, capturing the flagpole and the telephone switch box.
May I approach on?
Yes.
Call multitude to introduce and admit as the next 10 exhibits. No objection.
Okay.
Wait.
Sorry.
Wait.
Ah, my bad.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could publish a few of the photos from this set.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7681. Sergeant, you recognize what's up on the screen. It has now been marked as Exhibit 481.
I do.
If you could describe to the jury what's depicted in this photograph.
A red piece of plastic.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have the next one, 768.
Can you use the pointer to show us where that is, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, 7682. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted on the screen and has now been marked as Exhibit 482?
I do.
You know what? I'm going to see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please.
Don't know why she wants a sidebar over the pictures. It may be something they've discussed. I don't know. Don't have a clue. But yeah. Don't know. Don't know. I'm making something in Canva right now. I've been convicted, and I feel it's appropriate. So, we're back.
You are unmuted.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Ms. Gilman, 7682. Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen as Exhibit 482?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be? Is
A red piece of plastic.
that the same piece of plastic, that close-up image from the prior exhibit?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7684. Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and is now been marked as Exhibit 484?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
A white clear piece of plastic and a red piece of plastic.
And lastly, from this, sir, Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7687. Sir, again, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It's now been marked as Exhibit 487.
I do.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to the photos before you, have you had a chance to review that set of 10 as well?
Not this one yet, not yet.
If you could, please. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
I do.
What do you recognize those to be?
Items that were located in the street, being the black cocktail drinking straw, and then black pieces of plastic, molding plastic, and clear pieces and molding from taillight.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm off to seek to introduce and admit as the next witness.
Any objection, Mr. Jackson?
None, Your Honor.
Was John O'Keefe a sergeant? What level was he in the police force? Just needing to know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could display some of these photographs for the jury.
Okay.
Yes, this is the big boss. This is the boss above Trooper Proctor. He's testifying in lieu of
7688.
Trooper Proctor.
And Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen?
I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
It's the wide shot of the drinking straw being found on the edge of the roadway in front of 34 Ferry Road.
Sergeant, if you could, using the laser pointer before you, if you could direct the jury's attention to where you observed that straw. And Ms. Gilman, if I could have.
That means he got out of the car. I don't know.
And Sergeant, what are we looking at in this photograph?
It's a close-up view of the same straw.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7692. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and has now been marked as Exhibit 492?
I do.
And what are we looking at in 492?
Piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler that's provided for comparison and by the crime scene photographer to document the item.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7695. For the record, this is now Exhibit 494. Sergeant, what are we looking at in 494?
It's the same item from just prior, just zoomed in more, showing the detail of the black molding, the clear clear plastic, and red plastic.
Sergeant, as far as those photographs before you, have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what those are?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize those?
There are pieces of red plastic, pieces of clear plastic, and a piece of glass.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to seek to introduce and admit as the next 10 exhibits.
No objection.
Thank you.
It's 498, period, 508.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could publish just a few of these photographs for the jury as well.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7700. For the record, this is now Exhibit 498. Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
We're looking at a red piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler on the edge of the grass on the property at 34 Fairview Road by the road.
And if you could, sir, using that laser pointer, just direct the jury's attention to where you observe that item to be within this photograph.
Right there.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7705. And for the record, this is Exhibit 502. And Sergeant, if you could, again, describe to the jury what, if anything, of significance you note in there.
It's a shard of red plastic next to a measuring ruler.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7708. For the record, this is now Exhibit 504. Again, Sergeant, if you could, using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you note in this area.
There is a black piece of plastic molding next to a measuring ruler.
And lastly, from this set, Ms. Gilman, exhibit, excuse me, photo number 7712. Again, for the record, this is Exhibit 508. And again, Sergeant, if you could, using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you note in this.
A clear piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler.
That's found on the grass area as well, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to that new set of photos before you, have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what's contained within those photographs?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that those photographs to contain?
They contain small red pieces of plastic from 34 Fairview Road on the grass area where we located the others. Also contain a flimsy piece of circular, like very malleable plastic, clear plastic, in addition to that.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Come up, seek to introduce the witness to the next 10 exhibits.
No objection.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I've been quiet, y'all. I have been making something, and I'm going to show you in a minute. I really felt led to do this. And while they're doing this, I'll show you. I just downloaded it. Let me get back to
And
comment.
Your Honor, may I publish some of these photos for the jury?
Yes.
Oh, never mind. Well, we'll see if you can't wait. We'll see.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7715. For the record, this is now Exhibit 511.
This is all the stuff we saw yesterday. But look how far that is. That's by the flagpole. Look at the rocks.
Significance you observe in this photo.
Look at the rocks. That's
That
by the
is the-
flagpole.
Thin, malleable, circular in shape, a piece of clear plastic that was located in the lawn area of 34 Fairview Road.
Mhm.
Now, lastly, Sergeant, there's that set of photos that I just placed before you. Have
Yes,
you had a
the
chance to
judge is
review
over
those?
all the
Yes,
plastic.
I have.
And do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
There are items. Those are items recovered in the lawn at 34 Fairview Road. Those items are a shard of glass, a BPD baseball hat with an American flag, and stains of blood.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to introduce you in the next 16
No objection.
exhibits. Sorry.
No objection.
What do you think, y'all? I felt it was necessary because in the end, we're not here to I don't know what to say. All I know is he needs to be honored. And remember, that's why we're here, to find justice for him. And so that will be my little screen thing for a while we're in this trial. I felt very convicted I hadn't done it sooner. So do it one more time. I just feel that it's important that remember why we're here. The victims get kind of I don't think that people intend to do it, but victims tend to get a little overlooked. The court has been sensationalized. The court has been, oh, yay, they finally have the proverbial clock up for the other trial. And I think from now on, every time there's a murder
Five
trial,
what?
I will be
Thank you very much.
making a slide similar to such
Your Honor,
because
with the
it's
court's
only honorable to the victim.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, may I publish some of these photos for the jury as well?
Yes.
So we'll be seeing that periodically through the day. Because we can't forget why we're here. This isn't a movie. Another piece of
For the record, this is
plastic.
now exhibit 520. And again, Sergeant, if you could direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observe in this photograph.
I observed a shard of glass next to a measuring ruler.
And Ms. Hillman, if I could have 7729. For the record, this is exhibit 522. And again, Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at.
It's a larger piece of red plastic with black molding around the edge, located next to the telephone switch box on the grass area at 34 Fairview Road.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7733. For the record, this is exhibit 526. And Sergeant, from this photograph, what, if anything, are we looking at here?
This photograph here depicts the area which we are excavating during the morning hours of February 3rd, 2022. As the shovel works its way towards the grass, my laser pointer is directing your attention to Mr. O'Keefe's hat that was compacted underneath the snow on the ground.
Now, as far as this photograph is concerned, does that accurately depict the depth of the snow that you were digging into and sifting through on the morning of February 3rd?
It does.
And that, again, is several days after the blizzard of January 29th, correct?
That is correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if I can have photograph 7740. For the record, this is exhibit 530. And again, Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
We're looking at Mr. O'Keefe's hat on the grass, pressed down and compacted to a flat surface underneath the snow, which has been excavated around it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gilman, you can take that down. Thank you, Mr. Ops.
Thanks, Jim.
Sergeant, on February 3rd, 2022, is that the first time that you had been at 34 Fairview Road?
Yes, it is.
And with respect, if I could turn your attention briefly to the following day of February 4th, did you have occasion to go back to 34 Fairview Road on that day?
Yes, I did.
And what brought you to 34 Fairview Road on February 4th?
Having excavated those items on the 3rd, I directed the troopers in my office, who obviously reside in the communities around us, to make a point to travel by that location every day on the way to work and every day on the way home. The purpose of that was to see if anything else was to reveal itself as the snow naturally melts away and items could present themselves. So on the February 4th, as I am traveling to work, I diverted my
All right, let's just
typical
admit it.
route of travel
That didn't happen.
to go by 34 Fairview Road. Just prior to my arrival, I received a call stating that there was Kent police representatives at the scene, and more items have been revealed due to the melting snow, and that I should come collect those items.
They're
I
blowing
was down the
smoke
street.
my rear end
I
so bad,
arrived
I'm sending
and
off smoke
collected
signals.
the item that presented itself.
And if you recall, that item that you collected on February 4th, was that located on the lawn, on the street, or something else?
It was on the lawn.
Now,
Me?
with reference to your collection of these items, either on February 3rd, February 4th, or on any sort of subsequent date, how were they collected, and what exactly did you do with them in reference to the seizing of the items and storage of the items?
Each item that was collected was placed in a evidence paper bag. The collection was done by utilizing latex gloves.
So which one of you want to go out, say about 3 a.m., and scatter pieces of taillight on the yard? Then I'll drive by every day for a few days, and then I'll find some. What do you think? Is that a good idea? I haven't been long enough to tell you what I really think.
To prevent any transfer of evidence from fingerprints to DNA onto those items. Then those items were transported to our office, logged into the system, and stored in the evidence lockers at the office.
And each of those
The same
respective
one.
bags
That's
of
all
items
I've
or evidence, they were sealed as well, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now,
Why did
turning
you
your
do
attention
that?
to
Robocop?
February 10th of 2022, did you have occasion to go back to 34 Fairview Road on that day?
They're
as
also
well?
worried about chain
I
of
did.
command, chain of
And
evidence.
What, if anything, did you observe, or what, if anything, did you seize on that particular day?
We seized more shards of glass and plastic.
And if you know, or if you recall, how many
Nope.
pieces did you seize on that particular day?
My memory's exhausted to that, but the exact numbers annotated in on the bags that the items were placed into.
This guy was
Turn that
good.
approach.
Yes.
I'm showing you documents, just ask you to look at that section and look up with it.
Solo cups, shovels, rakes, leaf blowers. I want to know how far into the yard
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
this was blown.
Sergeant, is your memory refreshed as to how many items or what the items were that you recovered on February 10th?
Yes, it is.
And what were those items and how many, sir?
There was 6 items of clear red and black plastic and 14 items of plastic and glass.
Now, in addition to the dates that you were present at 34
Oh,
Fairview
Eddie,
Road,
that's
recovered items,
good.
them being February 3rd, February
I have to
4th,
put
and
that one
February 10th. Were there other dates that you're aware of that items were recovered by troopers that you supervised?
Yes.
And if you recall, what were those dates?
The dates were January 29th, February 11th, and February
Feb-
18th.
February.
There items recovered
Can't
on
say it
February
right.
8th as well?
Yes.
Now, as far as your direction or having,
Right back.
let me first start with you. So on the dates that you were there, February 3rd, 4th, and 10th, were you alone on those dates, or were there other troopers with you when you were there?
On the 4th, I was alone as far as state police personnel. There were other Canton law enforcement representatives at the scene with me as I collected that one item. On the other days, I was accompanied by other troopers.
And as far as you know, obviously not being present, but from your supervision of these troopers, were there other occasions where individuals were at 34 Fairview Road? Were they alone or were they with a group of troopers?
Objection.
Sustained.
Now, as far as the items that were recovered when you were there on February 3rd, February 4th, and February 10th, did you have occasion to bring those items with you to court today?
Yes, I did.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm presenting you with a box. First, just ask if you recognize that box.
I do.
And what do you recognize that?
It's the box storing items logged into evidence as they relate to this case.
And Your Honor, with court's permission, may the sergeant open the box?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, first, Sergeant, with regard to the items as far as plastic and or glass that you recovered from 34 Fairview Road on February 3rd, if you could locate those items. And Sergeant, with respect to each of those bags, they contain items of evidentiary value, whether they be plastic or glass, that were recovered on February 3rd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm sorry, how many bags in total do you have there before you?
I have 3 bags, 2 containing broken glass and plastic, and a stirring straw, a broken red plastic and clear plastic, and a bag containing 1 black Boston Police Department hat.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth will seek to introduce in minutes the next 3 exhibits.
No objection.
Okay.
No particular order.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with respect to what's now been marked as Exhibit 537, with the court's permission, may the sergeant remove that item, the hat, from the bag and display for the jury.
Yes.
Y'all missed it. My dog is such a good mood. Come here, baby girl. Come here. A good girl. She's like begging to work. She feels so much better. Oh, different dog today. Yepper. Y'all may have heard us in the hallway playing with her. I apologize. dramatic opening. Why wasn't the other bag with the solo cup sealed like that? Oh. Oh. You know what? That wasn't on him when he had the wound. There's no blood on that. Listen how quiet the courtroom is. I am so blessed that people, y'all, I can't imagine the hardness this is for his parents
Sergeant,
and
from
family.
your observations of Mr. O'Keefe on surveillance video from both C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall on January 29th, what, if any, similarities did you observe between the hat that you just displayed and located on the lawn of 34 Fairview Road and the hat Mr. O'Keefe is wearing in those videos?
It is
It
too
appears to be
clean.
the same exact hat.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to the box of other items, if you could remove what, if any, items you recovered and seized from 34 Fairview Road on February 4th.
So we're going to go through every piece of evidence.
And again, sir, just for the record, what's contained within that bag from February 4th?
Contained within the bag is a piece of red, hard plastic taillight cover.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth will seek to introduce and admit as the next exhibit.
No objection.
Thank you. Exhibit 538.
And lastly, Sergeant, with regard to the box, if you could remove the items that you seized from February 10th, 2022. And Sergeant, with respect to those two bags of items, if you could just inform the jury what is contained within those bags.
Bag labeled item number 10 contains 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic. Bag labeled number 11 is containing 14 pieces of glass and plastic fragments.
Thank you, Sergeant. Your Honor, the Commonwealth will seek to introduce and admit as the next two exhibits.
Any objection, Mr. Jackson?
I'm sorry. No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Exhibits 539 and 540.
I'm sorry. Was that 539 and 540?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Moving on from that, if I could bring you back just one last time to the ring videos from One Meadows Ave, as far as you had testified earlier that there was no video that you observed of the defendant, Ms. McCabe, and Ms. Roberts looking at the passenger side taillight area of the vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
Was there any video of the defendant, Ms. McCabe, and Ms. Roberts actually leaving from One Meadows Ave on that morning of January 29th?
There was not.
Now, as far as the videos that were not there, as far as the defendant, Ms. McCabe, Ms. Roberts leaving, the next video depicted Mr. Camerano arriving at the residence to pick up Ms. Furbush, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And with regard to the missing video of the defendant arriving at One Meadows Ave on January 29th, sometime after midnight, the video immediately preceding that, again, would have been Mr. Camerano arriving and picking up his daughter from One Meadows Avenue sometime around 11:30 p.m., correct?
That's correct.
And those videos were both present, correct?
That's correct.
If I could bring you back to February 3rd, 2022. On that date, did you have occasion to meet with a gentleman by the name of Brian Higgins?
Yes, I did.
And when you met with Mr. Higgins, who, if any, one from your office was with you when you met?
Trooper Mike Proctor was from my office present during that interview.
And during the course of that interview, what, if any, documentation did Mr. Higgins provide you with?
Mr. Higgins provided me with a printout of a Celebrate extraction containing conversations via text message between him and Mr. John O'Keefe and between him and the defendant. He also provided a digital copy of the same extraction on a CD.
Now, what, if anything, did you advise Mr. Higgins of at that time as far as Mr. O'Keefe's phone and the defendant's phone?
I advised Mr. Higgins that we were in possession of both of those devices and would have the extraction and accurate documentation of those conversations.
And did he seem to understand that when you told him?
Yes, he understood it.
Objection.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
Strike that, folks.
Now, also on February 3rd, at some point, did you have occasion to go inside of 34 Fairview Road?
Yes, I did.
And who, if anyone, did you interview inside of 34 Fairview Road on that date?
I interviewed Mrs. Albert.
That would be, just for the record, Nicole Albert, is that correct?
That's correct.
And who, if anyone, was present with you during that interview of Nicole Albert?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor was present with me.
She's
Anybody
getting
else
so
from the Albert
big.
family present in the home or present during the course of that interview?
Mr. Brian Albert was also present. I don't know who else exactly was present in the home. I just know that those two residents were in the room with us.
And where was Brian Albert at the time that you conducted the interview of Nicole Albert?
In the room with us, seated next to her.
Now, with reference to, I'm going to ask you just a little bit about sort of the interview process as far as the interviews that you conducted in this case.
Yes.
If you could describe for the jury, starting with sort of how many people from your unit are present for a given interview and how those interviews are conducted.
We conduct interviews always at pairs. I think I mentioned it yesterday. Typically, during a regular investigation into a homicide or any death investigation, we pair up our troopers with a local detective. In this instance, since Canton had recused themselves from interview portion of the investigation, they were not going to provide manpower for those interviews to be conducted. Thus, we had to utilize only troopers from our office in order to conduct those interviews.
And typically, obviously not perfect, but as far as the interviews that you were present for, about how long a period of time, generally speaking, was
Somebody
the
got
interview that you
jealous.
conducted in this case?
From my experience, I have learned that to fully communicate a course of recollection of events that an individual observes, experiences, or is aware of, and understand every detail of that experience, it would take approximately 45 minutes at a minimum to conduct a full interview with a witness in detail.
I disagree. It should be longer than that.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to June 9th of 2022. On that date, at some point, did you have occasion to meet with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And at some point during that meeting, did you have conversation with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And was that conversation, or at least portions of it, memorialized in any way?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you a disc. Does that contain an audio recording, the best of your knowledge? Does that contain an audio recording of a portion of your conversation with Ms. Reed on June 9th, 2022?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'll hold the seat to introduce the minutes of the next exhibit.
All right. No objection, Mr. Jackson?
Objection.
All right, folks, before we play this again, please be mindful of the instruction from yesterday. So you're about to hear statements allegedly made by the defendant, allegedly concerning the crimes with which she's charged in this case. Before you can consider any such statement as evidence, the Commonwealth must prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant made the statement she's alleged to have made and that she made it voluntarily, freely, and rationally. In determining whether the statement
Why are you
made by the
agreeing?
defendant
This
was
is
voluntary or not,
very
you may
damning
consider
evidence.
all the surrounding circumstances. These include when and where the statement was made, the nature of any conversations with the police or any questioning by the police, the defendant's physical and mental condition, including her intelligence, age, education, experience, and personality. Your decision does not turn upon any one factor, and you must consider the totality of the surrounding circumstances.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, may we publish that for the jury at this time?
Yes, do you want to turn off the air conditioning? Is this very short, right?
It is very short, and if we could, please, yes.
Why are you agreeing like this? Are you really? What did you say? My hair's driving me crazy because it's on one side and not the other.
And this is just audio, correct?
Y'all, get her ears on.
Okay, you're aware he was beaten up by Brian and calling out
See if I can get captioning.
Brian.
There's no
We're all on
captioning.
the same joke, right? My tail end is correct and John was pulverized.
Thank you. Now, Sergeant, on hearing that
What?
statement from the defendant, what was your reaction?
Okay, guys,
Sustained.
forgive me. We're going back. We can't.
Totality of the
May-
short. And this is just audio, correct?
I have live captioning on my computer, so I'll see what she said. It was hard to hear.
Okay, you're aware he was beaten up by Brian and calling out we're all in on the same joke, right? My tail end is correct and John was pulverized.
Thank you.
I couldn't understand it. Could anybody else, please?
On hearing that statement from the defendant, what was your reaction?
Objection.
What did she say?
On hearing that statement, what, if anything?
I heard pulverized. That's it.
I advised the defendant not to further speak.
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Okay, let me see if I can roll it back
Now-
one more time.
We're all in on the same joke, right? My tail end is correct and John was pulverized.
Thank you.
The caption isn't even catching it.
On hearing that statement from the defendant, what was your reaction?
Objection.
Sustained.
On hearing that statement, what, if anything, did you do?
I advised the defendant not to further speak.
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Y'all should see the cat. She's
Now-
going 8 nuts with a toy.
At some point over the course of your investigation, were you made aware of forensic findings relating to the defendant's tail?
Yes, I was.
That could be because he was in a fight,
Specifically
maybe?
DNA findings,
Yes.
and specifically that there were.
Objection.
Sustained. Yes. You can turn the air conditioner.
I knew that was coming. When I leave, I'm going to put the camera on Heidi the cow. So I'll leave it up like this so people know that I'm not disappeared forever. Got to tighten my mount. Oh, that's not what I want. That's better. Yes, we love Heidi. I'll zoom in on Heidi. Mama knows how to do this right. She knows. She's learned.
Unmuted.
I'm back. Have one moment.
Yes.
So Sergeant Bukhenik, on January 16th, 2024, at some point in that day, did you meet with a Sergeant Gallerani of the Needham Police Department?
I did.
And who, if anyone else, well, let me ask you this. As far as any other troopers from your office, who, if anyone else, was there with yourself and Sergeant Gallerani?
Trooper Mike Proctor.
And what was the purpose of your meeting with Sergeant Gallerani, Trooper Proctor, on that morning?
Collection of our DNA.
And was that something that you did voluntarily?
Yes.
And how was it that the sergeant collected your DNA?
Through a buccal swab.
Why would he collect
Were you
his
present,
DNA?
When Trooper Proctor submitted to a buccal swab as well?
Yes, I was.
And then as far as the swabbings that were taken from both yourself and Trooper Proctor, were those logged into evidence by you, or did Sergeant Gallerani take them with him when he left?
Sergeant Gallerani took him with it when he left.
Why was his DNA sampled?
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Hmm.
My apologies.
That's okay.
Thank you very much, Sergeant. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Okay. Cross
Are you
examination.
guys liking that music or does it bother y'all?
Sergeant Bukhenik, I want to start with one of the latter things that you discussed with Mr. Lally, and that's specific to the ring video that y'all talked about this morning. Do you have that in mind?
I do.
The search warrant that produced, and just so we're clear, I'm talking about the specific ring video or series of videos that were associated with One Meadows, John O'Keefe's home.
Okay.
Okay. You didn't write the search warrant for those ring videos, did you?
I did not.
You were not the affiant for those search warrants.
I was not.
Who was the author of the search warrant and the affiant?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor.
Who received the actual ring video or videos from the Ring Corporation?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor received it.
And who ultimately either logged those into evidence or controlled those once they were received from the Ring Corporation?
I believe it was Trooper Mike Proctor.
And ultimately, Sergeant Bukhenik, you did note that in addition to just the physical videos themselves, that login information and
I'll
login
fix it.
keystrokes, et cetera, were requested from the Ring Corporation as well, correct?
There was discussion with Ring asking for those logs.
I'll call it, is it correct to say an activity log?
That's what was requested, yes, activity log, yes.
So ultimately, the activity log would show who logs in, who accesses the data, things of that nature, correct? Or at least that was the hope.
That is what was requested.
All right. It would also show logging in and executing deletions, manipulating the log files, things of that nature, correct?
That is what was requested, yes.
When you reviewed those log or activity logs, there was no evidence revealed that my client ever logged into that account, correct?
There was no activity logs provided by Ring.
So you have zero, hang on.
He's trying.
Isn't it true that Ring contacted Trooper Proctor and indicated that they had created a Dropbox folder that contained the evidence that had been sought in the search warrant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Isn't it true that the search warrant return specified account information, video recordings, and number 3, activity logs associated with the video recordings are all times displayed in UTC?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Do you recall that activity logs were in fact provided from the Ring Corporation?
I do not recall that, no.
Okay. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
Take a look, Sergeant, at that paragraph with my fingers on the third.
How conveniently you
middle
do
of the
not
page.
recall.
Review that to yourself and let me know when you're finished.
Yes, I'm learning. I'm learning. Thank you so much, Monique. Thank you for joining. I Googled myself. No, I'm now in my 12th week of lives, and I've learned so much, y'all. So much. But I'm getting ready. This is a GoPro 7. Can't do it. It's too old. So I have a GoPro 10. I didn't get the 12. I talked to Recovery Addict. I didn't need it. But I got a 10 on its way. And I'm going to have a different angle shot, probably from this side. I don't know. We'll play with it. I thought about doing a puppy cam. I said that and she went, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. If I can get the 7 to work, I'll have 3. Puppy, me, view. We'll see. But Monique, thank you so much for joining. Everybody who's watching, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you.
Have you had an opportunity to review that?
Yes.
May I approach you?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
You sure you want to approach? I'm kidding.
Does this refresh your recollection as to the items received from the Ring Corporation?
That is the first time I saw that document, so it does not refresh my recollection. I simply read it.
So do you have a recollection as you sit here that in fact during the course of your investigation, the 3 items that you received from the Ring Corporation were the account information, the video recordings, and quote, activity logs associated with the video recordings, all times displayed in UTC?
To the extent of its availability, as it says in that document.
Okay. The long and short of it is, during the entire course of your investigation, you never revealed that investigation never revealed any evidence whatsoever that my client ever even accessed the account information for the Ring account associated with this search warrant, correct?
Nothing provided by Ring proved or suggested or proved any evidence of that type of activity, no.
Thank you. Trooper Proctor, you were notified.
I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. Sergeant Bukhenik.
Sergeant Bukhenik.
How do I say it?
Bukhenik.
I'll give that
Can't.
a shot.
It's fine.
Bukhenik?
Yes,
Is that better?
that's better. Thank you.
If I should.
I've been calling him Bukhenik. Bukhenik.
On January 29th, you were notified about
How about
a Boston police officer found
I can't
gravely
say it. I've
injured
been on long
outside the
enough.
home of 34 Fairview at about 6:40 in the morning. Was that your testimony?
That is not.
What time were you notified?
I was not notified it was a Boston police officer.
So you didn't have that information upon the first notification?
I did not.
Okay, what information did you have?
There was a male party in the snowbank, possibly of a heart attack.
At what point did you learn that the individual was, in fact, a sworn Boston police officer?
I do not know exactly
I am
when I
doing the
learned that he
screen
was a
share
Boston
today.
police officer.
I think it was during that day or the following day.
You had to learn
It
something.
was most likely that day, either. Yeah.
Monique,
enough.
their quality is
Trooper
better
Proctor was
today.
ultimately assigned as
It's all
what
based
did you call
on
him? Not lead
them.
investigator, but case
But
officer.
thank you.
That's correct.
He was assigned on the 29th, correct?
He was on call from 7 a.m. on January 28th until 7 a.m. on January 29th.
So his assignment was, he was assigned on the 29th because he was on call.
He was on call. His assignment took effect when the schedule came out back in mid-December.
Okay. Well, he wouldn't be assigned to this investigation until there was a need for the investigation, right? That's all I'm getting to. I mean, once the call came in, he was the assigned case agent.
Once the calls come in, the person that's on call is automatically assigned that case.
All right. Did you personally, as his supervisor, did you personally respond to 34 Fairview at any point on January 29th?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Did
it
Trooper
is,
Proctor, at your
Monique. I
direction
just
or on
looked.
his own, ever respond to 34 Fairview Road at any time on January 29th?
No, he did not.
Based on your initial investigation, and I'm talking about going way back, Sergeant, on your initial investigation, by 10 or 10:30 in the morning, 10:40 in the morning, it was your belief that Mr. O'Keefe had been struck in the face by a person. That was your initial understanding of the circumstances surrounding the investigation, correct?
My initial understanding was that the defendant stated that she hit him. We did not know the.
Sergeant, you hadn't even met my client at that point. You hadn't interviewed a single witness by 10:41 in the morning, correct? Not one witness.
That's not correct. We had already interviewed the first responders.
Okay, when I say witness, I'm talking about civilian witnesses. So at 10:41, you hadn't interviewed a person at 34 Fairview or associated civilians associated with this incident, correct?
Y'all, do you
At
realize,
that point, no civilians have been interviewed now.
But at 10:41, Sergeant,
by the way, I don't know if or how they're going to get this in, but in the medical records, it states fight. Everybody was treating this at the hospital as if he'd been in a fight. Let's see how he gets it in.
you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital to inform them that, quote, Mr. O'Keefe was struck in the face with a cocktail glass, end quote, correct?
I do not recall contacting Good Samaritan Hospital.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'd like you to take a look at this document.
They're
please.
blowing
If you
smoke
wouldn't
in my
mind.
rear end so bad, I'm sending off
Especially
smoke
attention to
signals.
the second page, the bottom paragraph where it's tabbed in pink.
Hi, Lillian. I don't know. I don't have an option for 960. It's either 360, 480, 720, or 1080. I'm always at 1080. I'm always at high definition. So I don't know. I will tell you my feed from the courtroom is better today. So I have no idea. I'm still learning. But you guys, thank you for the feedback. I will always accept good feedback. Criticism, I'll take it as long as it's done in a nice and loving way. Y'all, I'm learning. I'm getting there. And if anybody has not subscribed, please do. It's free. Doesn't hurt you. It helps me. I would love to be able to do a custom setting, but it doesn't give me the option.
Yes.
Yes, I am. I'm streaming the court TV, YouTube. Maybe I can go over there and check. Duh.
Having reviewed this, does this refresh your recollection that you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital and gave them an assessment, at least based on your investigation at that time?
I'm on auto.
That is not true.
What did you say to Good Samaritan Hospital?
I never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital. That document is for the medical examiner's office.
I'm not asking you where the document is from. I'm asking you if the document says Trooper Yuri Bukhenik called back at 10:41 stating the case is now being treated as a suspicion.
The objection sustained.
Did you call
Yes,
back
Lillian.
to Good Samaritan Hospital and say that the investigation was being treated as a suspicious due to a domestic situation? Did you say that?
It was
I
being
never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital.
Did you say
it was
there's
being treated as a
possibility that
domestic violence.
D was struck in the face with a cocktail glass?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever contact anybody at any medical facility and indicate that the investigation was being treated as a suspicious, in quotation marks, because the victim appeared to have been struck in the face by a cocktail glass?
Objection.
Allow that. Did you ever say that?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I did say that to the medical examiner's operations desk.
Okay, so when I was asking you if you ever said it to Good Sam, and you said, no, that's not true, that's never happened, you were correcting me on the fact that it happened at the medical examiner's office, not at Good Sam.
I responded and answered your question honestly, yes.
Okay, so honestly, you did, in fact, at 10:41 a.m., indicate to another professional involved in the investigation that the circumstance was being treated as a physical assault at that point, correct?
I communicated our suspicions to the medical examiner's office.
And that was at 10:41 or thereabouts in the morning, correct?
That's correct.
Your initial investigation during those obviously
Oh,
critical hours, the
Lillian.
beginning hours, led you to believe that there was at least a good possibility, you indicated that you made a phone call, that it was a physical altercation that led to John O'Keefe's death, correct?
That's correct, yes.
What steps did you take, sir, in those moments, to determine whether someone in the house at 34 Fairview may have been involved in that physical altercation that you suspected at the time?
As investigations develop, we followed the evidence and statements made. The steps I took was Trooper Proctor and I proceeded to an eyewitness who was also present at the scene when the victim was discovered and interviewed Ms. McCabe.
And prior to that, prior to interviewing Ms. McCabe, by the way, that was at Ms. McCabe's home, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Even though you believe that there may have been a physical altercation, you didn't ask anybody to come down to the station. Is that right? Any of the witnesses?
That's correct.
And you did not seek to actually go to the physical location of 34 Fairview in those next few hours
That's correct.
or the next few days, correct?
Not myself, no.
Okay. As a matter of fact, Trooper Proctor did not either, did he?
No, he did not.
You didn't secure the interior of the house as a potential crime scene. You certainly know how to do that, right?
That's a cop-out question. Do you want me to answer whether I did it or whether I know how to do it?
Well, I'll ask the question. If you can answer it, please.
Spicy meter coming
Answer that
out.
question.
I can answer that question.
Why don't you answer both of them then?
First portion is we did not secure the home as a crime scene. And the second portion, yes, I do know how to do that.
And you didn't, as a Massachusetts State Police official, you didn't secure the outside as a crime scene either, did you?
I did not know.
To your knowledge, nobody else from Massachusetts State Police ever did either, did they?
Yes, they did.
How was that done and when?
When members of our office and the CERT team responded to that location and secured the front yard grass area and processed it.
That was at 5:45, 6 o'clock that night on the 29th?
I believe it was earlier, but I was not present, so I can't testify to the time.
So you don't know personally what they did to quote unquote secure or not secure the crime scene.
You're
You know
the
they searched it,
boss.
but in terms of securing it as a crime scene, you don't have personal knowledge to that.
I was not present.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
You never took any photos of the interior of the house, correct?
I did not know.
You never caused CSSS to go inside the house and process that house as a potential crime scene, correct?
I did not know.
No forensic criminalist at your direction ever went into 34 Fairview.
No, they did not.
Look who just popped up on my watch, y'all.
And the people that you
Can't show
interviewed
it.
on January
Billy D.
29th,
Baker.
you already mentioned Ms. McCabe. The other people were her husband, Matt McCabe, correct?
That's correct.
And her brother-in-law, Brian Albert. Is that right?
That is correct.
And all three of them were interviewed where?
They were interviewed at the McCabe residence.
Now, yesterday when you testified, did you?
Okay, guys, I got to clarify something. Yesterday, Karen Reed mouthed, "No Proctor, ever." And she did the ever. And it's my understanding if Proctor comes in and testifies, it could be used against him. He is under investigation by the FBI. So, y'all, there will not be a Proctor. If he comes in, everybody, we have verdict. Oh, guys, I'm going to have to pause this. We're going to switch to the case with Karen Swift murder trial. We have verdict. Oh my God, we have verdict or something. So let's jump over there real quick. Then we'll jump back over.
Please be seated.
Oh, I hope it's not a hung jury. Oh, look at him. Correct, Eddie. He's basically testifying in his place. From what I understand. I could very well be wrong. I'm not a lawyer yet. Okay. Oh, I do have a drum roll. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Oh, yeah.
Counsel, I've received a note from the jury.
Oh.
I'm just going to read the note to you.
They're hung.
Judge, we have a hung jury, and it's signed by the foreperson. there. It's my intention at this point to bring the jury in, ask the foreperson about that, and see what the reaction is. I'm going to reread the instruction on their duty to reach a verdict and how they do that concluding instruction there.
I'm
And
not
then let them
surprised.
deliberate further at this time. Any thoughts, Mr. Goodman? Okay. Any thoughts, Mr. Taylor? No, Your Honor. Okay.
I'm really not surprised, Joe.
When they come in, would you ask the foreperson to bring the instructions back?
Okay, y'all. I think what we're going to do is go back to the Karen Reed. Since we do not have a decision, I will hop back on if need be, because I'm going to be leaving here in about 20 minutes for my doctor's appointment. Heidi the cow will be sitting in my place,
Brian Albert
and
was
I
not
think,
present
Eddie,
in
are you the
home
one that's
when
going to
you
be the lead
interviewed
mod?
Matt McCabe and Jennifer McCabe?
They were not. He was not present in the dining room when we were interviewing
Good
each
job,
individual
Eddie.
separately.
So if all three of them testified that he arrived before
Y'all,
you
my
arrived,
mods are fabulous, and they're the only reason I have learned half of what I've learned.
I did not see him in the home when we arrived. No.
I want to switch gears real quick to
Greatness, Kevin and
a couple
Eddie.
of the
Thank you
physical
so
items
much.
that you testified about yesterday, specifically the gray shirt or the gray hoodie and the orange shirt. You and Trooper Proctor collected both of those items you indicated from the floor of the hospital at Good Samaritan, correct?
That's correct.
You testified that you and Trooper Proctor immediately bagged both of those items. They were sort of sopping wet, I think you said.
That's correct.
You indicated that the bags were so wet that you had to take the items back out of the bags and then lay them out on, I think you said, butcher paper. Is that right?
The items were soaked and wet. They were bagged, double bagged, to prevent leakage of physiological fluids and the moisture coming off of it. And then once they were transported to the office, they were laid out on butcher paper in order to dry naturally.
So you went from Good Samaritan directly to Dighton, correct?
That is correct.
And then you went from Dighton directly to the Canton Police Department, after which you had seized the vehicle, correct? And the phone.
We seized the phone in the vehicle in Dighton and then followed the tow truck straight to the Canton Police Department.
So at some point, if you had received or gathered the wet clothing at Good Sam, went from Good Sam to Dighton to Canton PD, at what point that evening did you finally get those items of clothing out and laid out to dry?
It was late that night, around 10 or so.
So where were the items in the meantime?
They were stored in the back passenger compartment of my pickup truck.
In those double bags?
Correct.
Who took control of the items to then lay them out late that night at the office?
I do not recall.
Is that you or Trooper Proctor?
I don't recall. I don't remember.
At some point, obviously, it was getting late. You'd been on duty for a long time that day. You went home at some point, correct?
At some point, yes.
Did you wait for those clothes to dry before you went home, or did you leave that in Trooper Proctor's hands?
No, once they were laid out in the processing area in the office, we went home.
Okay. Who would have controlled those items of evidence when you left?
Well, they're under lock and key within the secure area of the district attorney's office, so they're secured. Nobody's in physical control watching guard over them.
Who had access to that area?
Troopers in our office.
Meaning you, obviously.
Yes.
Supervisor. Trooper Proctor as well, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Ultimately, given the fact that he was the case officer, sort of in charge, the lead, he would have bagged those items up, been responsible for taking those items, tagging them, getting them.
That's a big
stored where
deal.
they need to be stored and processed, correct?
As a case officer, he could direct other people to perform those tasks for him. The evidence officers in the office log in the evidence, and once it was dried, it was sealed up, bagged, and put into storage. As far as who actually performed those tasks, I do not know.
Well, yesterday, Your Honor, may I approach the course, right? There's a couple of evidence.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Thank you.
Y'all, that's not good that these were laid out to dry and there was no one supervising. They were probably just left overnight, open.
This is not a vision contest. I'll bring these up to you in just a second. But just,
Oh, please. I want to see it. Give me a vision
for
test.
familiarity's sake, do you recognize these two bags as bags that you brought to court with you yesterday?
They look familiar, yes.
Okay. This one has a 437 on it on my right. The one on my left has a 438 on it. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to open those. Don't worry about gloving up at this point. The bag on your left, which one is that? 437 or 438?
The bag on my left is 437.
437. Okay.
Why are you touching it?
And you
Don't have
indicated
gloves.
that those items were bagged after the clothing was dried and then ultimately processed in, logged in, correct?
Once the items dried, they were bagged and logged in, waiting processing, yes.
But you didn't personally do that.
No, I did not, no.
Matter of fact, looking at the bag on your right, what's been marked as Exhibit 430, help me, 438, thank you. That one has some writing on it, correct?
Yes, it has a lot of handwriting on it, yes.
And that, whose handwriting is that?
I don't know.
You've seen Trooper Proctor's handwriting 1,000 times, I'm guessing, correct?
Not 1,000 times, but
Does it look like his writing?
it says Trooper Proctor on it, but other than that, I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting looks like.
All right. It indicates that Trooper Proctor is the one that bagged that item or those items up, correct?
Yes, this bag indicates that the item was collected by Trooper Proctor on 129
Right.
at 10.
And it says Brockton, correct?
Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton, yes.
You just took the question out of my mouth. That's where Good Samaritan Hospital is, correct?
That's correct.
And there's a tag or a printed label, looks like a label maker of some sort, that is on that physical bag, correct?
Yes.
Before we get to that, what's the description on that bag in handwriting?
I'm sorry. Can you be specific as to description of what or?
Where it says description of items.
Why are you handling it with
Description of enclosed evidence?
Correct.
It says 1 orange T-shirt, 1 gray long sleeve shirt.
Okay. So may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And before I do that, just so I close this loop, what's the description on the bag to your left, the one that looks like it's less sprinkled?
Number 437.
Yes. If you would read the same clothing description.
The description of enclosed evidence states sweatshirt with recovered items inside container.
Okay. May I approach now?
Yes.
Thank you. Yesterday when you opened, I'll keep my voice up. Yesterday when you opened these
Each
two bags, this
item
one,
should be
437,
bagged
has the gray sweatshirt in it.
separately.
438 has the orange T-shirt in it now, correct?
That's what was in the bag, yes.
All right. However, the bag indicates at one point, this bag, 438, the physical bag I'm holding in my left hand, had both the sweatshirt and the T-shirt together, correct?
That's what the description is. I do not know if that was in case or in fact the case.
You cannot bag them together and then separate them.
The
You
reason
shouldn't bag
don't
them
know
together
is
to
because
begin
you're not
with.
the one that bagged Trooper Proctor did, correct?
The reason I don't know is I wasn't present during the separation of those items, and I did not observe it taking place, nor was I made aware of how the items were separated or when.
You are aware, however, that tag that's on the label maker looking tag, the white tag that's on that bag indicates that indicates a date of February 4th, correct?
You'd have to bring that back up.
I'm sorry.
I didn't take note of that.
My fault.
That funny, Eddie.
Mayor, Your Honor.
Good morning, Miss Karen.
Just direct your attention to the
Eddie, you're funny.
tag and the date associated with that tag.
The label maker tag does have the date February 4th, 2022 on bag number exhibit 438.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Yep.
That's obviously
You're
6
good.
days
I enjoy
after
it. I'll be right back,
the
y'all.
item was actually recovered on the 29th, correct?
Yes, it is.
So that indicates, at least based on that tag, that item was not booked into evidence and processed until 6 days after it was actually recovered on the floor at Good Samaritan Hospital. Is that right?
The date indicates February 4th, 2022.
Right. And that date would be indicative, in your experience, of the date that it's moved into processing by some other folks, the evidence sergeants or whomever, or the evidence officers rather, or whomever, correct?
I can't speak to their procedures as far as when they print the date. That date could be when they printed the label, but the bag might have been tagged otherwise. I do not know that.
But there's no other tag on that bag that suggests an earlier date, correct?
There's just that one tag from the label maker.
My question to you, if you know, sir, and you may not know, is what was happening to these items between January 29th, after you lost sight of them that night on the butcher paper, and February 4th, when that tag indicates that they were first processed?
To the best of my knowledge, those items were drying on the butcher paper.
For 6 days?
If that's what the label maker says, yes, for 6 days. They were soaking wet.
And those would have been certainly accessible to and in the possession of the lead case officer in the case, is Trooper Proctor, right?
Yes, if Trooper Proctor needed to review those items, he would have access to those items. Absolutely.
And you're also aware that the first actual log of any chain of custody for those items is March 14th, when they were finally submitted 6 weeks later to the crime lab.
That is not true. The first actual log of those items is when we collected them from the hospital.
Where's the log? I'm talking about a physical log, like a sign in, sign out log. Where's the log?
It's documented in the reports saying that we collected them.
I know that there's a report. Anybody can write a report, right? I could write a report. Doesn't mean anything. I'm asking for a log.
Objection.
So the objection sustained.
Obviously, when items move in and out of people's custody in an official capacity for the Massachusetts State Police, there's a log of that, correct?
It's documented. Yes,
Or at least it should be, correct?
it's documented.
Where's the log of these items before March 14th?
It's documented in the report.
There is no log, is there, Sergeant?
I do not know.
I want to talk a little bit about some searches that Mr. Lally asked you about, February 4th and February 10th, very specifically. Both of those searches you were involved with out at 34 Fairview, correct?
Correct.
But Sergeant, you didn't personally write a report about your conduct at 34 Fairview on either of those 2 dates. In other words, you didn't go back to the station and generate a report yourself.
I don't recall doing that, no.
There were no photos that you took of the items at the location.
I did.
Else took photos, correct?
I did not take photos of the items. No.
Okay. And the first report that indicates anything that happened or was recovered at the location on either February 4th or February 10th, that was first notated in a report dated November 4th, 2023, year and several months later, correct?
If you say so, I do not know the exact date. That report would have to be presented to me.
May I approach?
Yes.
You don't have to read the whole thing, but if you can skip to the part that talks about the February 4th and February 10th searches. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were what's the date of that? Well, let me ask a foundational question. Does that
Interesting.
refresh your recollection as to the date of the report that actually talks about the February 4th and February 10th searches?
It does.
And what's the date of that report, sir?
This report is dated November 4th, 2023.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, as it relates to those two searches, I'd like to ask you a little bit about the February 4th search first. You indicated that you actually responded to 34 Fairview personally, correct?
I was responding to that location on my own. I personally responded, yes.
Okay. That was because you had received information that Chief Berkowitz had seen something or found something. Is that right? Chief Berkowitz from Canton PD.
That is not correct, no.
Okay. So when you got there, was Chief Berkowitz there?
Yes, he was.
You just happened to go by 34 Fairview at the exact same time on the exact same date as Chief Berkowitz, or was that coordinated in some way?
There was no coordination between me and Chief Berkowitz. As I testified, I had directed the troopers to go by the location. I planned to go by the location in the morning on the way to the office and in the afternoon on the way home, just to see if any more items would reveal themselves. So that morning, I was actually traveling to that location in order to conduct a view of the area to see if any more evidence had been revealed. Prior to my arrival, approximately while I was on Chapman Street, I received a call indicating that Chief Berkowitz was at the location, yes.
And was there also an Officer Lank, Sergeant Lank?
I do not know Sergeant Lank was there, no.
Okay. Chief Berkowitz certainly was there.
What?
Yes,
And Chief Berkowitz indicated that as he was driving by, he saw a piece of plastic.
yes.
I'm sorry.
And
what?
stopped his car and then started making phone calls.
I believe that's what he indicated to the caller, yes.
Did you question Chief Berkowitz about why he was driving by the location in the first place?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you knew at that point that the Canton Police Department had been recused because of at least an appearance or potential for a conflict of interest, correct?
I knew they recused themselves due to only in respect to interviews. They didn't want to conduct interviews with us side by side.
I mean, if there's a conflict of interest, Sergeant, for a department, conducting the interviews is just one aspect of an investigation, correct?
I'm not going to speak to conflict of interest, but yes, conducting an interview is just one aspect of the investigation, yes.
So is it your testimony that your understanding was they couldn't conduct interviews, but they could collect evidence, store evidence, write search warrants, get returns on search warrants, execute search warrants, conduct searches? They could do all that but not conduct interviews?
My understanding was they were recusing themselves from conducting interviews. They still allowed us to use their facilities. We utilized their conference room to conduct interviews. There was evidence being stored at their Sally Port, being the vehicle. So that was my understanding.
Isn't it true that you knew?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Back that shit up. That don't make sense. I'm almost speechless here. You recuse yourself from interviews only because of possible conflict of interest, but yet it was okay to store the evidence, use your Sally Port, use your conference room where people could hear you discussing the investigation in which they were supposed to recuse themselves from? I need to get a button that says I call bullshit. Sorry, I'm just, hey, 2 hours and 10 minutes and we're good.
That the entirety of the Canton Police Department had recused itself because of a familiarity between one of their members, Kevin Albert, and the Albert family on whose lawn John O'Keefe was found. That was the conflict, correct?
I knew that was the connection between them, yes.
And you understood, sir, that that agency was to have nothing, from an investigative standpoint, nothing to do with this investigation, correct?
Yep.
They were not conducting the investigation, no.
Matter of fact, Trooper Proctor and you supervising him, y'all were conducting the investigation, right?
Our office was conducting the investigation.
So did you find it unusual or suspicious in any way that the chief of police for the conflicted...
Okay, guys, I'm going to set up. I'm going to get ready to leave. I have you on my phone. I can text in. I can comment. I am listening. Okay? My alarm just went off saying time to leave. Okay. I'll pop the camera back on once I'm fully set up. Y'all have it.
Canton PD was the person driving by 34 Fairview looking for evidence.
Objection.
Can you answer that question, Sergeant?
He would have to repeat it. There's just so much I can't.
It was a little wordy. I'll try it again. Did you find that suspicious?
Which part? You have to repeat the whole thing.
That Chief Berkowitz from the conflicted Canton PD was at 34 Fairview looking for evidence.
The way you posed the question, I did not find it suspicious at all. He's the chief of the police in the town where he works, and he's driving down the street. I mean, that's not suspicious.
With a conflict of interest on the very case that he's driving by.
Objection.
Sustained.
You certainly knew, as a supervisor over the case officer, that any involvement by Canton Police Department, given the fact that there's a potential conflict, any involvement by them could compromise your otherwise clean investigation. You knew that, right?
Okay, I'm out.
Not necessarily, no.
Did Chief Berkowitz disclose to you that morning on February 4th that he had been communicating with Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, two witnesses on your case that morning?
Objection.
Sustained.
If you knew information about communication between and among Canton PD and your witnesses, you would find that inappropriate, would you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
You returned to the scene on February 10th, is that right? To conduct another search, you said.
I was present on the 10th, yes.
Who dispatched you back to, or did anybody dispatch you back to that location on February 10th? How did you end up there is a better way to ask it.
February 10th, just like previous days, we made plans to go to the location in the morning, in the afternoon, drive by. I was on my way to work and to home. So I traveled that route on purpose. And as evidence revealed itself due to the natural melting of the snow, we would stop and collect the visible evidence.
You believed at this point, sir, that whatever you might collect at the scene would obviously be important, correct?
Anything we collected that had evidentiary value or presented itself as somehow related to the crime or the incident would be collected.
And it would be important to the investigation, right? You treat it as important.
It is important, yes.
So my question is, was, especially as it relates to the February 10th search, where there were multiple items found, did you seek to have CSSS come out and actually either mark with GPS coordinates or measure with cross coordinates exactly where each item of evidence was found?
We did not do that. We had collected so much evidence already, and so much has been documented at that point, that we did not contact crime scene services to come back out and photograph more shards of glass and plastic. We simply collected it for processing.
So the location of each one of those items was not of that great importance to you, at least at that time?
It was of great importance as to the fact that it was located in the vicinity where the victim was found and in the vicinity of other items located of the same characteristic, shape, size, and color.
So that's my question. What does vicinity mean?
In the area.
Okay, what does area mean?
It's a location, specific location.
Okay, are we talking about, because we can do this all day, I guess, are we talking about an area of 5 feet or an area of 50 feet?
Based on where the items were recovered, we're talking about an area approximately of 30 square feet between the roadway into the grass. It's the
We saw photographs, Sergeant, of items that were butted up against a fire hydrant in one instance, correct? Is that yes?
That's correct, yes.
A drinking straw that's out in the road, correct?
That's correct.
Another shard of glass that's in the grass,
That's
closer to
correct.
the flagpole, correct?
Correct.
A hat that's under the stone, adjacent to the left side of the flagpole, correct? I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was closer to the electrical box, wasn't it?
No, the pictures documented where the hat was. It was to the right of the flagpole.
So these shards of glass, the point I'm asking is, did you seek to use basic cross coordinates, measurements from something that you know is a known object? Like, for instance, I don't know, a flagpole or a fire hydrant. 27 inches to the north and a foot and a half to the south of those two known points. That would give you a cross coordinate, correct?
It would document the exact location, correct?
And you did not do that with any of these items, correct?
The items that were not photographed were not also GPS located, but they were within the same vicinity of where the other items were collected.
But again, now we're back to the same question. Your word for vicinity might be different than my word for vicinity, right?
Objection.
Sustain.
When you recover these items, or any other items, it's obviously important to memorialize on the evidence bag or in some other way exactly where they're found, who found them, the date, time, etc. Correct?
We do the best we can to document all known information on each evidence item bagged at the time.
And in terms of the February 10th search, I want to just ask you a couple of quick questions about that evidence bag. Did you bag the items into a single evidence bag that you found that day, or do you recall?
I would have to see the bag. If you have those available, I'll take a look. I can answer
With
that.
the court's permission, exhibit, I think it's 310 that was entered into evidence yesterday. I'd like to display that for us.
Okay.
You're looking at a photograph of what was previously entered into evidence as 310. Can you see that from where you're at? I don't have the evidence bag with me, so if you don't, I can sort of ask the space to enlarge it.
If you can enlarge it, please.
Just a portion of the right. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I didn't realize I've got a photograph of it.
Do you need the lights on, Sergeant?
Please.
There you go.
Thank you.
Should make it easier. Sergeant, have you been able to familiarize yourself with that evidence bag?
With the photograph, yes.
Okay, thank you. Taking a look at that evidence bag, it has the information on it, has your name is collected by, correct?
Correct.
The date of collection is February 10th, is that right?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay. And it indicates multiple pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, right? It actually says 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, correct?
That's correct.
But that is not an evidence bag that was filled out by you.
I did not fill that bag out, no.
As a matter of fact, that's Trooper Proctor's handwriting.
I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting is. I cannot confirm that that's his handwriting.
But it's not your handwriting.
It is not my handwriting, no.
So are you aware that this particular bag, that bag that contained those 6 items of plastic material that you already deemed was incredibly important to the investigation, was never booked into any evidence until March 14th, the date that it was submitted to the crime lab?
I was not aware of that, no.
We can take that down, Mr. Bates. If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you ever draft a report yourself documenting the recovery of those 6 items and the other 14 items that you said that you found on the same date, February 10th?
I did not, no.
Did you leave that assuming that Trooper Proctor would document that?
Objection.
Sustained, ask it differently.
I'll ask it another way if I can. Did you believe that you didn't need to write a report, Sergeant, because Trooper Proctor would take care of that?
I knew that it would be documented. It was already documented on the actual bag as far as who collected it, when, where, what it was, and a report eventually would be authored on it.
But the where, for all these very intricate pieces, the where is left to 34 Fairview on the back, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that right?
The general vicinity location of the other items collected and documented with photographs was consistent with the same locations this was collected.
I want to shift gears for just a second. Well, actually, I want to ask one final question about that item. Based on the documentation that you just mentioned, that it's documented on the bag, and if the bag is presented to the crime lab on on March 14th, some 5 weeks later, those items were completely unaccounted for from a log standpoint for the entire time from when they were collected until they were booked at the crime lab, correct?
Objection.
Sustained, ask it
Did you
differently.
keep possession of those items for those 4, 5, 6 weeks?
Are you talking about the items that were just displayed on the screen?
I am, sir.
I did not.
Now I'd like to shift gears to a ring video that you saw yesterday. It's in Exhibit 6, video number 153. That may mean nothing to you. It's the 5:07 a.m. video of Miss Reed's car pulling out of the One Meadows garage. Do you remember that video?
I do.
Okay. You indicated yesterday on questioning, under questioning by Mr. Lally, that Miss Reed's car came in contact with or close to coming in contact with the other vehicle, the Traverse, in the video. Is that right?
The video, as I watched the video, I observed the vehicle come near Mr. O'Keefe's car.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about. With the court's permission, may we play that video one more time?
Okay.
If you can pull that up, and then I'm going to ask you to pause it and get out of the way. Okay. Okay. Can you just play that for a quick second, and then I'll ask you to pause it. Pause. Does that appear to be, I'm just pausing it in the first 2 or 3 seconds, does that appear to be the video that you saw yesterday?
It appears that way, yes.
Okay. Mr. Bates, if you could enlarge the area around the the left rear tire of the Traverse. I'm going to ask you, sir, if you'll pay close attention to what's been zoomed. And when the SUV gets close to it, I'm going to pause it and ask you another question. Can you go ahead and play this?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this.
So why don't we pause the screen, take it down, and I'll see you at sidebar.
I'm going to try to situate myself where I'm out of the way. If we can have the lights dim, Your Honor.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead and enlarge the rear area of the traverse. And I'm going to ask you to pay special attention to that wheel and any movement that you may or may not see. Okay, pause it. Okay, in about the next 3 seconds, Sergeant, I'm asking you to pay special attention to the wheel. Go ahead. We can have the lights on. And you can take that down. Sergeant, were you able to see that video? I know it's not the clearest thing in the world. Were you able to see that video okay?
Yes, I
What did
did.
you notice about the rear wheel of the Traverse?
Based on the motion in the shot with the snow falling, it appears that there is movement, but the video speaks for itself.
What would you assess based on the movement of the rear wheel of the Traverse about whether or not the two vehicles came in contact with one another?
Objection.
Sustained.
Okay. May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm trying to use my time wisely, Your Honor. Yesterday, Sergeant, you were asked about a couple of videos related to the Sallyport garage. Do you have that in mind?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we watched one of them pretty specifically toward the end of the day yesterday. Did you actually, I want to talk about the one that is the clearer of the two, where you slip. You remember that one?
If you pull it up, I can.
I will in just a second.
Okay.
There was one where Mr. Lally paused it and you were slipping in front of the vehicle.
I don't recall myself slipping, no, but it was icy that day. So if there's documentation of me slipping, I might have happened.
Fair enough. I didn't mean anything by that other than that was a moment that I thought you might recall to differentiate the videos. It's exhibit 446, but I don't think that's going to help you. All right, let's see if I can do this another way. Did you actually personally go to Canton PD to retrieve any or all of the videos of the Sallyport? You yourself?
I did go to Canton and collect already extracted video.
Okay.
But it was a portion of video surveillance. I didn't collect all of the video, so
When was the most recent time that you went to Canton to collect a portion of the video?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Did you review well, let me ask it this way. Did you collect the video that was sought on or about April 23rd, April 24th this year, meaning just a few weeks ago?
Did I collect it?
Correct.
I did not collect that video of April this year, no.
You're aware that the video that you saw yesterday was in fact collected after the trial started in April of 2024?
Objection.
Sustained.
Are you aware of when that video that we saw yesterday was collected?
Objection.
I am not aware.
Okay. Was yesterday the first time you'd seen that video?
No.
When had you seen that video previously?
A couple of weeks ago.
Okay. What were the circumstances in which you saw that video?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you have a meeting with the DA?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever have any kind of communication with Mr. Lally about your testimony?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Yes.
You are unmuted.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant, did you have any meetings or communications with Mr. Lally in anticipation of your testimony?
Yes.
When was that?
It was about 2 weeks ago. And then last week, I believe.
And what was discussed? Generally.
Generally, we discussed the portions of the case that I would be presenting.
Did you write a report about your communications with Mr. Lally?
No, I did not.
Were you shown any of the videos that you've seen here in anticipation of your testimony?
Not during the first meeting. I did review a video during the second time.
Okay, and that video was that you did see the second time was the interior video of the Sally Port that we saw yesterday, correct?
I'm just trying to remember exactly what video I saw. I had reviewed videos outside of our meeting, so I don't remember exactly what video Mr. Lally showed me.
But you do recall seeing the video that you saw yesterday, the sort of clear one that has the crime scene tape being put up and all that. You have seen that one before.
Yes.
And that was with Mr. Lally, correct?
That is not correct because I do not recall when I saw that video or what video I saw with Mr. Lally.
I see. All right. I'd like to talk about that exhibit 446 for a second, and then I'll show it to you. You indicated that the video that all the videos, everything that you saw yesterday was true and accurate, correct? Based on your memory of the events that were memorialized in the video?
The video captures events taking place in an accurate fashion, yes.
In an accurate fashion. All right, that's what I wanted to find out. And after you watched the video, I think you were asked by Mr. Lally, does the video show you or Trooper Proctor having access to or messing with in any way that right rear tail light in any fashion? And you said, never.
I was asked if at any point Trooper Proctor and I had came into contact, I believe, or touched the vehicle and that portion of the vehicle. And I said, never, we never touched the vehicle prior to it being properly processed with a search warrant.
And that was specifically his question was to, and your answer was to the right rear portion of the vehicle, right? That right rear tail light.
The right rear damaged taillight, correct.
Right. With the court's permission, I'd like to play a portion of Exhibit 446.
Okay.
Before we begin playing it, Mr. Bates, if you wouldn't mind, may I inquire, Your Honor, of the witness, just to lay a foundation? Yes. Sergeant, do you recognize this as being the video that we saw yesterday?
It does look accurate.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. This is 446, just so you have it in mind if I reference that. Space, if you could play that. And I think it's runtime 120. Pause it. Do you recognize that as the video we saw yesterday?
Yes, I do.
Very briefly, if you could move to time of day, 5:37:05. Yes. With the court's permission, can we play at this point?
Yes.
All right, that shows the vehicle coming into the Sally Port, and we're looking at which side of the vehicle?
So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. What that video depicts is a mirror collection. Although mirrors are accurate representation of what you're seeing, it's just inverted. So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. I do not know why it is inverted, but that's the way it was presented, collected and presented from Canton Police.
Can you see a timestamp or a time and date stamp on the bottom of that? It's in blue.
I cannot know.
Okay. Does it appear that time and date stamp, if you can't read every letter on it, that is in correct order? In other words, that's not inverted.
I cannot read it, no.
All right, let's go ahead and play this for a second. Who is that just got out of the car?
I do not know. I think that's the tow truck driver. He would have the only access to the vehicle.
Okay.
We did not touch the vehicle.
Who's that on the left?
I missed that. I was looking down at the laser pointer. I do not know. I know for a fact I'm the gentleman that's wearing a dark olive drab state police baseball style hat, and Trooper Mike Proctor is wearing a winter hat.
Trooper Proctor's wearing what?
A winter hat.
That was playing, and I didn't realize it was playing while you were talking. Stop. And stop. Yesterday, when you testified, you indicated that the two individuals in this scene were you and Trooper Proctor, correct?
That is not correct. There was two individuals in the rear of the vehicle I shined my light to. That was me and Trooper Proctor.
Do you see Trooper Proctor toward the back of the rear of the vehicle there?
I can't tell because of what the head is. I just know that Trooper Proctor was wearing a black hat.
Which the person in that in the video to the left, to the rear of the car, is wearing a black hat, correct?
I can't tell. I don't want to be locked into a statement where later on you show me that it's somebody else magically. I can't testify to that.
There's no magic about this. It's your testimony. I'm just asking you what you see.
I don't see that. No.
Stop. Let's go ahead and play at this point. Do you see the person toward the back of the vehicle walking toward the opposite side of the SUV?
I do.
What area does he appear to be going to?
He appears to be going towards the rear passenger side of the vehicle, although it does not appear so because the video is inverted, a mirror image. That's where he's going.
And Sergeant Bukhenik, you testified for at least a half an hour about this video yesterday, correct?
I'm sorry, it was a long day. I don't know the timing of how long I testified.
You significantly testified about this video yesterday, did you not?
I testified about this video.
And you testified that it was true and accurate, correct?
Correct.
You testified that it was reflective of your observations of what was happening in that Sally Port that evening, correct?
I testified that this is a accurate scene and collection of video evidence from the Sally Port.
And as that truck sits in that Sally Port, just like this, it appears from all perspectives that what we're looking at is the passenger side of the car, and that right rear taillight is right there shining in our face, correct? From this perspective.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
From this perspective, from the perspective that the jurors are looking at,
okay,
from all indications, that would appear to be the right side of the truck, the passenger side of the truck, and that taillight that you can see is the right rear taillight from this perspective, correct?
The way it presents itself, yes.
And yesterday, during the entirety of your questioning by Mr. Lau, not once did you mention that this video is actually completely inverted,
Did not know.
Mr. Lally didn't ask you if it was inverted, correct?
That's correct.
And if I hadn't gotten up here and begun questioning you, that would be left uncorrected, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
The person with the winter cap appears to walk directly to the what ultimately should be the right rear tail light of this car, correct?
That's the vicinity, yes. That's where he is. Yeah.
Pause it. I'd like you to pay attention to the right rear of this car. And I know we're completely backward, but it's the far corner of the car. Do you see a person's head there?
It appears as if someone's still there.
And that person is located at or near what portion of the car?
In real life or as it's depicted?
Is the person near in real life, near the right rear tail light of the car?
Yes.
Matter of fact, standing there, hovering around there, correct?
We don't know the distance that they are in proximity to the actual vehicle. We just know that they're behind the vehicle. That
Looks like it's pretty close, doesn't it, Sergeant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does that look like he's in close proximity to the right rear tail light?
as I said, I can't tell how far away he is from the vehicle.
His head's right there, sir. You can't tell that he's right next to the right rear tail light?
Objection.
Sustained.
All right. I want you to pay attention to what that person does as soon as the other person comes out from behind that car. See if you see him move. Stop it. Do you see that person move?
I saw movement in the frame, yes.
Right when the other person is in eyesight of the person toward the right rear, correct?
I mean, the video speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained. No commenting, Mr. Jackson. We've talked about that.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bates to back it up because there's one other issue I want you to pay attention to, if you can, right at this moment or right before this moment, and that is the timestamp. We can back it up in maybe 10 seconds. Right about there. Don't play it yet. Instead of paying attention to the individuals, I'm going to ask you, can you see, may I approach the screen, Your Honor?
Yes.
Can you see the timestamp at 5:37 and 37 seconds p.m.? Can you see that from where you're at?
No, I cannot.
Me neither. That's why I don't walk up to it. Let's play it for about 10 seconds. Pause it. Did you see another person just appear toward the rear end of the car?
There was a fog of some sorts. It did appear as if a person was actually in. There was two people back there, and two people walked away, or one person walked away.
The timestamp jumped to 5:38:01. Correct?
I cannot see the timestamp, sir.
Okay. Did it appear that there was an anomaly? There was a portion of that video that was deleted, or it's missing, not deleted, but just missing.
Objection.
Can you tell that? Does it appear that way to you, Sergeant?
No, Your Honor, I cannot tell what is happening with the video.
If you take a close look at there's a classic police car in that Sally Port, correct?
There's an antique vehicle there. Yes, yes.
If you take a close look at the trunk of that vehicle, see the word police?
Yes, I believe I can read that. Yes.
And it's backward, correct?
It is mirrored, correct.
That's a good indication that this is an inverted video, right?
It appears that way, yes.
And if we were to fast forward at 5:42, about another 20 seconds. There you go. Can we just play it at this point? No. Pause it. You see the Sallyport garage came down?
Yes,
You see a number on the garage?
I do.
Is that correct?
What is correct?
Does the number appear correct? How do you make it for?
No, the number's in the mirror image, yes.
I just wanted to make the point. Everything in this video is completely backward, correct?
It's not backwards, it's mirrored, reversed. You can look yourself in the mirror in the morning, you still see your own face. It's not backwards.
But my mirror image is not an accurate depiction of who I am. My
Jack.
actual physical appearance is who I am, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
A mirror image, Sergeant, is not an accurate video of this, is it?
Objection.
It's a mirror image by definition.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Your Honor, thank you. I don't think I need to. I would like to mark I have a, we can bring the lights up.
Wait.
I have a thumb drive that I'd like to have marked with the court's permission.
Does Mr. Lally know what's on this thumb drive without you telling us?
I do not.
Okay.
We can approach and I can certainly bring it up.
We're trying to wrap up our morning.
It's,
It's marked for identification.
if I may, Your Honor, I'd like to play the first 10 seconds of that video.
No. We'll come to sidebar. It's marked for identification, right, Mr. Jackson?
You are You are unmuted.
Bukhenik, we're gonna have you come back on Monday. All right, so we'll just wait. Jurors, I know that you want to know when this case is gonna end, and I don't mean that in any negative way. After speaking with the lawyers, I can safely say that you will get this case for your deliberations sometime the last week in June. We'll know better next week. We will not be in session next Tuesday. We will go full days, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. We will not be in session next Tuesday. All right, I have to give you those cautions again. Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
All rise for the jury, please, jurors.
You are muted.
Thank you.
You may be seated.
All right, so I received a motion from the Commonwealth this morning that I have not had an opportunity to read yet. It's on my desk. I'd like to go spend a few minutes looking at that and come back out at 12 o'clock on that.
In order for us to argue it?
Yes. Do you need?
I haven't looked at it either.
Okay.
We've been busy.
All right.
Could we do it on Monday?
I want to get as much evidence in as we can each day. We can do it at 8:30 Monday morning, I think. Madam Court Reporter, can we do it at 8:30? Yeah. Jim?
Sure. Absolutely fine with us. Not that it matters what we want, but.
Can we do it at 8:30 Monday morning?
If that's what the court wants, yes.
Yeah, we'll have a hearing on it at 8:30 Monday. Are you around tomorrow? Are you around tomorrow?
Oh, am I? Yes, absolutely.
Do you want to do it tomorrow morning?
If I had a preference, I would say Monday.
All right, we'll do Monday morning at 8:30.
I'm sorry.
Monday, 8:30.
Okay, great.
And if you want to put something in writing, just email it to us this weekend.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you then.
All rise for the court, please.
This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
It's a controversial case that's divided a community.
Karen Reed is accused of murdering her police officer boyfriend.
Prosecutors say she ran him over on purpose and left him to die in the cold.
But Reed claims that she's being framed.
It smells suspicious. After years of legal fireworks, will the truth finally be revealed?
The end game is to figure out who killed John O'Keefe and hold these people responsible.
The killer or cover-up murder trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.